The coffee machine hissed like it was tired of them. Clara leaned on the counter, half awake, staring at the gray sky leaking through the blinds. Ethan shuffled in, shirt untucked, eyes bloodshot, tie hanging from his pocket like a flag of surrender. "Morning," he said, voice rough but smug. He poured coffee, missed the mug by a splash. "Man, I'm wiped." Clara didn't look up. "Late night." He smirked, the kind of crooked grin that always meant trouble he thought he'd get away with. "Yeah," he said, stretching. "Last night, I was with the best woman in the universe." The words hit like a dropped plate. For a heartbeat, the kitchen went silent except for the drip of coffee. Clara blinked once, slow. "That's so." "Yep," he said, chuckling under his breath. She was out of this world. He wanted her to react, wanted the fight, the tears, the drama. Instead, she took a sip of her own coffee, calm as Sunday service. "Good for you," she said. "Hope she enjoyed the view from your cheap motel." That wiped the grin halfway off his face. He turned, pretending to fiddle with the toaster. "Geez, Clara, can't you take a joke?" "Was it?" She tilted her head, eyes sharp. "Didn't sound like one." He laughed, but it came out thin. "You're so uptight lately. You gotta relax." Clara almost smiled. Relax. The word scraped her nerves. She'd heard it from him 1,000 times, always after the lies, the gaslighting, the charm. She set her mug down, carefully aligning it with the edge of the counter. "You smell like a bar," she said softly. He sniffed his sleeve, shrugged. "Had a few with the guys. Nothing crazy." "Aha." Ethan grabbed his keys, jingling them loud. "Anyway, I'm late. Big meeting. Don't wait up." "Wouldn't dream of it." He kissed the air near her cheek, missed by a few inches, and walked out whistling. The door clicked shut. The sound lingered, echoing like a slap. Clara exhaled. Her hands trembled, just once, then went still. On the counter, his coffee mug sat half full, lipstick red on the rim, but Clara never wore that shade. She stared at it. The mug seemed to hum with proof she hadn't asked for. The clock over the stove ticked. 6:47 a.m. She could still hear his smirk, like it was burned into the air. She wiped the counter clean, rinsed both mugs, and stared out the window. The sky had brightened a little, pale and cold. Somewhere down the street, a lawn mower started early, its buzz grating against the quiet. She whispered to no one, "Best woman in the universe, huh? Let's see about that." Then she grabbed her phone, opened the calendar, and marked the day with a small red. No label, no note, just a reminder. Tomorrow would come, same as always. But something inside her had shifted. Small, sharp, irreversible. Outside, the sun finally crawled up, weak and tired. Clara watched it rise without blinking, her reflection ghosted on the glass. The coffee machine clicked off behind her. The house went still again. In the silence, she almost thought she could hear Ethan's laughter, faint, echoing through the walls. Or maybe it was just the sound of something breaking, deep inside her, too quiet for anyone else to notice. Clara couldn't shake that damn smirk. All morning it played on repeat in her head, like a bad song she couldn't turn off. The way Ethan said it, the best woman in the universe, with that cocky little half-grin. Yeah, it stuck to her like grease. She'd tried keeping busy. Laundry, dishes, even vacuumed under the couch just to hear the noise drown her brain. Didn't help. The house still echoed with his laugh, that low, arrogant chuckle that used to make her melt back when they were stupid and in love. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual, each click a jab. 8:22 a.m. The toast popped up black. "Figures," she muttered, scraping it with a knife until ash flecks hit the plate. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a second she thought Ethan might have but dialed her again. She swiped anyway. "Hello." Static. Then a woman's voice. Soft. Careful. Hi. Is this Clara?" Clara froze, hand tightening around the phone. "Yeah. Who's this?" A pause. "Sorry, wrong number." Click. Clara stared at the screen. The call ended too fast, like the woman realized who'd picked up. Wrong number her ass. She scrolled through her contacts, thumb hovering over Ethan's name. She didn't call. She wasn't gonna give him that satisfaction. Instead she sat on the kitchen stool, staring out at the street. The neighbor's kid biked past, the mail truck groaned to a stop, and life just kept rolling. Her chest ached with that hollow quiet you get right before something breaks. She drifted back to the start, when Ethan used to drive 2 hours just to see her, bringing cheap takeout and singing off-key. Back then his laugh was warm, stupid, contagious. Now it sounded like nails on glass. How'd they get here? When did love turn into a contest neither of them wanted to win? The phone buzzed again, a voicemail this time. She hesitated, then hit play. Hey, Ethan. Miss you already. Last night was. Click. Clara stopped it there. Her stomach flipped. Same voice. Same whisper. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared at the phone, thumb hovering over delete, then switched the message to a hidden folder instead. Evidence. Maybe. Or a souvenir. Outside, a gust of wind slammed the porch door. The sound jerked her back. She glanced at the clock. 10:03. Still ticking, smug as hell. Best woman in the universe, she said under her breath, a bitter laugh catching in her throat. Guess the universe just called. She dumped the burnt toast, wiped her hands, and grabbed her coat. Time to stop spinning in circles. Time to start paying attention. As she opened the front door, that scent hit her. Sweet, expensive, and definitely not hers, floating faintly from Ethan's jacket hanging by the rack. Clara stopped cold. Her pulse kicked. Guess we're not done yet, she whispered, pocketing her phone. And for the first time all day, she smiled. Not soft. Not sad. The kind that says game on. That smell hit Clara like a slap wrapped in silk. Sweet, heavy, and pricey. Something straight off a Fifth Avenue counter. Not her drugstore jasmine. Not even close. She leaned in, slow, careful, like the jacket might bite. The scent clung to the cuff, thick and floral, mixed with a faint trace of smoke and cheap whiskey. Whoever she was, she liked to be noticed. Classy, Clara muttered. She rubbed the fabric between her fingers. The perfume didn't fade. It bloomed, bold and smug. She dropped the jacket back on the hook and stared at it like it was grinning at her. For a second, she could almost see Ethan there, laughing that same damn laugh, daring her to react. But she didn't. Not this time. Instead, she grabbed her phone and opened her notes app. Scent. Floral. Expensive. Found on cuff. Possible lead. Her thumbs flew, methodical, detached. She sounded like a detective writing up evidence, not a wife tracking betrayal. The house was too quiet. Even the fridge hum sounded judgmental. She poured herself a glass of water just to break the silence, took one sip, and set it down untouched. Her hands were steady now, but her stomach felt twisted tight. She turned on the TV for background noise. Some daytime talk show was yelling about cheating spouses. Ironic, the universe's sick humor. Clara muted it after 10 seconds. Her brain wouldn't shut up. Who wears that kind of perfume? Not someone from Ethan's office. Too pricey. Not one of his drinking buddies' wives. Too bold. She pictured a woman with red nails, long hair, maybe that laugh she'd heard on the voicemail. The image sharpened in her mind until it felt real. She checked the hallway mirror. Her reflection stared back. Calm, neat, expressionless. Perfect disguise. Keep it together, she whispered. She decided to start small. No confrontations. No yelling. That's what Ethan expected. Her to blow up, to make herself the crazy one again. Not this time. She'd watch, wait, collect her data. Her laptop opened with a soft chime. She searched Ethan's calendar sync. Nothing suspicious. Just meetings, work lunches, the usual. But one stood out. Dinner with M. Rhodes, 8 p.m. She frowned. M. Rhodes. Never heard that name before. Her stomach flipped, but she typed the name anyway, searching social media. A few hits came up, local listings, one profile pic half hidden behind sunglasses. Could be anyone. Still, the name stuck. Clara closed the laptop and leaned back, staring at the ceiling. She'd always been good at puzzles. Maybe that's why she married Ethan in the first place. He was a problem she thought she could solve. Now he was just a riddle she planned to crack wide open. Outside, a car door slammed. She froze. Ethan's voice floated in through the front window, chatting with someone. A woman's laugh answered him. That laugh. Clara's pulse jumped. She didn't move, just listened. The voices faded toward the driveway, then silence. She walked back to the door, fingers brushing the jacket again. The perfume was still there, stronger now, almost taunting. She smiled faintly, sharp and cold. "All right, universe," she murmured. "Let's dance." And with that, she grabbed her notebook, jotted one last line. Next step. Find M. Rhodes, and slipped on her shoes. Through the window, she spotted the new neighbor moving boxes next door. A woman with dark hair and confident posture. Clara's smile widened. Maybe the universe was already delivering. Clara spotted her again the next morning. Same woman from the driveway, dark hair in a loose bun, yoga pants, phone tucked under her chin. She was directing movers like a general, laughing in that confident, "I've got this way Clara used to have." By noon, the street smelled like cardboard and fresh paint. Clara carried over a mug of coffee and that practiced neighborly smile. "Figured you could use caffeine. Moving day's a beast." The woman grinned. "You're a lifesaver. I'm Maya Rhodes." Clara almost dropped the mug. M. Rhodes. The name from Ethan's calendar flashed through her brain like a warning light. She covered quick. "Clara, welcome to the block." Maya's handshake was firm, warm. Her eyes were kind, too kind. "You live right next door, huh? Good. I was hoping for normal neighbors, not creeps who spy through the blinds." Clara chuckled softly. "Guess that depends on the day." They both laughed, and for a moment it felt easy. Two women in the middle of chaos, just talking. But Clara couldn't stop watching her. The way Maya moved. Calm, sure, the little gold chain at her neck catching sunlight. Expensive perfume. The same perfume. Clara's stomach twisted, but her face didn't flinch. "So what do you do, Maya?" she asked, stirring her coffee even though she didn't need to. "I'm a psychiatrist," Maya said. "Just opened a small practice downtown. Mostly work with trauma and relationship cases." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Sounds intense." "Yeah," Maya said with a smirk. "People are complicated. Half my job's just letting them talk." Clara nodded, eyes on the rim of her cup. "Talking helps." "Usually." Maya tilted her head, studying Clara. "You seem like someone who holds a lot in." Clara laughed, a short, brittle sound. "You've known me 10 minutes. Occupational hazard." Maya grinned. "Sorry, I analyze by reflex. My ex used to call it my superpower." "Bet he loved that." "Not really," Maya said, setting her mug down. "Guess some people don't like being seen." Clara met her gaze. Steady, unreadable. Maybe some people don't like what's looking back. For a second, the air between them thickened. Then Maya smiled again, softer. "You're funny. I like you already." Clara forced a smile. "Yeah, same." They chatted about furniture stores and leaky faucets, but Clara's mind kept circling. Every word Maya said, every laugh, every gesture, it all sat just a little too comfortably. Later that evening, Clara stood by her window, lights off, watching through the thin gap in the blinds. Maya was unpacking books, humming along to something upbeat. The glow from her living room spilled out warm and golden, inviting. Clara whispered, "So you're the one, huh?" The perfume from the jacket drifted faintly in from the hall, mixing with the cool night air. She picked up her phone, scrolled through her messages, and stared at Ethan's last text. "Running late again. Don't wait up." Her thumb hovered over reply, but she didn't send one. Instead, she typed a note to herself. "Confirm connection, Ethan plus Maya. Watch closely." Outside, Maya's laughter floated through the open window. Light, careless, familiar. Clara whispered to the dark, "I'm watching, sweetheart. Go ahead and shine." Then she pulled the blinds shut, sealing the house in silence. Tomorrow, she'd find out exactly what kind of neighbor Dr. Maya Rhodes really was. The next morning felt too quiet, the kind of silence that hums in your ears. Clara sat at the kitchen table, staring at her phone like it might confess something on its own. Her screen lit up. One new message. Unknown number. Last night was perfect. Can't stop thinking about you. Red heart. Her heart froze mid-beat. For a second she thought it was spam. Then she saw the timestamp. 2:14 a.m., right about when Ethan had stumbled in. She didn't breathe. Didn't blink. Just stared. "Perfect," she whispered, voice flat. The phone buzzed again. Same number. Same time next week? Winky face. Clara laughed once. Short, sharp, humorless. "Oh, sweetheart," she muttered. "You texted the wrong woman." She could have called him. Screamed. Thrown the phone across the room. But instead, she sat still. That eerie calm she'd worn for days wrapped around her like armor. She tapped forward, sent the messages to her own secret email, and deleted the originals. No trace. No panic. Years with Ethan had taught her one thing. Never play mad. Play smart. She opened the browser, started digging through numbers, cross-referencing every call from the past week. The unknown number matched one from last night's missed calls. No name, but a local area code. "Close to home," she murmured. "Of course." Her fingers moved fast, mechanical. She created a new folder on her phone. Evidence. Screenshots. Timestamps. The voicemail. Now this. Each piece clicked into place like a puzzle tightening around the truth. Across the counter, Ethan's jacket still hung from the chair. Same cuff, same perfume. She brushed it with her fingertips, the scent still sharp and taunting. Her phone buzzed again, but this time it was Ethan. "Morning. Babe. Long night. You up?" She typed back. "Just got up. Coffee's hot." Hit send. Simple. Unbothered. She wanted him relaxed. Comfortable enough to keep slipping. When he came downstairs 15 minutes later, he looked wrecked but smug, that post-lie swagger he always wore. "Morning," he said, kissing the top of her head like everything was peachy. "Morning," she replied, not looking up from her mug. "You sleep okay?" He grinned. "Like a baby." Clara smiled into her coffee. "Sure you did." He didn't notice the edge in her tone. He never did. After he left, she sat for a long time, scrolling through his social media. There it was, a new follower request. From Maya Rhodes. Clara's thumb hovered over the name. The room tilted for a second, her pulse steady but deep, like a drumbeat in her ears. The text. The perfume. The dinner meeting. The neighbor. Every thread pointed one way. Clara leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "So it is you," she said softly. "Dr. Perfect." She saved Maya's profile to her evidence folder and locked her phone. Outside, a car engine started. Maya's. Clara stepped to the window, watched her pull out of the driveway, sunglasses on, lips curved in a lazy smile. Clara's reflection stared back from the glass, eyes cold. "Let's see what kind of doctor you really are," she whispered. She grabbed her coat and keys, pocketing her phone like a weapon. Time to get answers. One way or another. Maya adjusted the blinds in her office, letting in just enough morning light to look welcoming but not harsh. The smell of coffee and vanilla candles lingered, her usual setup for new clients. She was good at this. Control, calm, connection. Her receptionist buzzed through the intercom. "Your 9 o'clock's here. Ethan Rhodes." Maya froze, her hand still on the blinds. "Ethan." She almost laughed. Same last name. Weird coincidence, right? Except when he walked in, tall, too polished, the kind of guy who checked his reflection in the doorknob, her stomach dropped. "Dr. Rhodes," he said with that familiar smirk. "Nice office." Her throat tightened. "Thanks, Mr. Rhodes. Please, call me Maya." He sat across from her, legs crossed like he owned the place. Maya. Beautiful name. Guess it's fate. Fate? She asked, scribbling on her notepad to hide the shake in her hand. Yeah, he said, leaning back. You showing up next door. Small world, huh? She kept her face neutral. I didn't realize we were neighbors. Guess now you do. He chuckled, the sound low, smug. She felt her pulse climb. Clara's husband. Clara, the quiet woman with sad eyes who'd brought her coffee, who'd listened like she actually cared. Maya's stomach twisted. So, she said, forcing professional mode. What brings you here, Ethan? He shrugged. Marriage junk. Mostly. My wife and I, well, we're different planets these days. Maya scribbled another note just to keep her hands busy. Different how? She used to laugh, he said. Now it's like living with a ghost. Everything's cold. Planned. Hell, I don't even remember the last time she looked at me like I was worth a damn. Maya tried not to flinch. The guilt pressed hard in her chest. She's, nice, Maya said softly. Ethan's eyebrows lifted. You've met. Briefly. He smirked again. Well, then you know what I'm dealing with. Her professional mask cracked for half a second. Ethan, maybe she's hurting too. He laughed. Quiet. Cutting. Hurting. Please. Clara's an ice cube. I'm the one melting. The words stung. Maya looked down at her notes, but the letters blurred. She thought about the perfume she'd worn that night, the late texts, the half-drunk laughter. God, she'd known he was married. She just hadn't known whose husband he was. Ethan, she said carefully, maybe the issue isn't just her. Maybe it's what you're trying to find outside the marriage. He tilted his head, smiling slow. You mean you? Her pen froze mid-sentence. That's not appropriate. He grinned. Didn't sound like you minded before. Silence burned between them. Finally she said, This, whatever happened, it can't happen again. Ethan stood, straightening his jacket. Relax. Document. I'm not here to confess. I'm here to fix things. He gave her that smirk again, the one Clara had described without even realizing it. You're good at your job. Maybe you can fix me. And with that he walked out, leaving her office smelling like his cologne. Clean, sharp, intoxicating. Maya sat back, shaking. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She stared at the door, whispering to herself, What the hell have I done? Through the window, she caught a glimpse of Clara outside, watering her plants, head tilted toward the sound of Ethan's car pulling away. Maya's breath hitched. Lines had blurred. And somewhere deep down, she knew Clara already suspected everything. Maya almost dropped her phone when Clara's text came through. Dinner tomorrow night? Just us three. Feels like time to start fresh. Her thumbs hovered over the screen. She read it twice, heart thudding. Us three. She could almost hear Clara's voice, steady, polite, maybe even warm, but underneath it, something razor-sharp. She typed back, Of course. Wouldn't miss it. Big mistake, and she knew it. The next evening, Clara's house glowed like a magazine spread. Soft amber lights, candles flickering, a table dressed to kill. Every fork, napkin, and glass was perfectly aligned. The smell of rosemary chicken filled the air, masking something colder, control. Ethan stood by the counter, already halfway through a glass of wine. You didn't have to go all out, babe, he said, trying to sound casual. Clara smiled. Guess I'm in the mood to celebrate. Celebrate what? He asked. Honesty. He blinked. Ha! Before he could push, the doorbell rang. Clara's smile didn't waver. Perfect timing. Maya stood on the porch clutching a bottle of Merlot. She dressed carefully. Simple, tasteful, like she was meeting an old friend, not stepping into a firing squad. Hey, she said. Thanks for inviting me. Clara's eyes flicked over her outfit, her perfume, her too careful smile. Of course. Come in. Inside, everything felt too still. The candles hummed low. The air smelled faintly of smoke and something floral. Maya caught it immediately, her own scent, lingering on Ethan's cuff. She swallowed hard. Dinner smells amazing. Glad you think so, Clara said, motioning her to sit. Ethan's favorite. Ethan grinned, oblivious. Yeah, she spoils me. Clara poured wine for everyone, her hand steady as stone. To fresh starts, she said, raising her glass. Maya hesitated before clinking. To fresh starts. They drank. The wine tasted sweet at first, then bit back. Conversation stumbled at first, weather, work, harmless stuff, but every line felt loaded, every glance a silent dare. So, Maya, Clara said lightly, how's your practice going? Must be hard, listening to people's secrets all day. Maya smiled thinly. You get used to it. I imagine you learn a lot about what people hide. Ethan chuckled. She's scary good at that. Reads people like a book. Really? Clara asked, tilting her head. Then maybe she'll tell me what my husband's thinking right now. Ethan laughed, a little too loud. That I'm lucky to have two smart women feeding me. Clara's eyes glimmered. Lucky you. The room went quiet except for the ticking clock. Maya could feel the weight of it pressing on her ribs. Every breath felt borrowed. She wanted to say something, confess, apologize, something. But Clara's stare held her still, like a pin through glass. Finally, Clara broke the silence with a soft smile. Dessert's in the fridge. Ethan, help me grab it. Ethan shrugged and followed her into the kitchen. Through the open doorway, Maya heard the whisper of voices, low and tense. Then Ethan laughed again. Forced, shaky. Maya stared at her reflection in the wine glass. Her face looked pale, warped, two versions of herself staring back, one guilty, one terrified. When Clara and Ethan returned, everything looked normal again. Plates, smiles, small talk. But the air had changed, thicker, dangerous. And when Maya left that night, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She could feel Clara's eyes on her back, calm and unblinking. Whatever this was, it wasn't dinner. It was a warning. It was nearly midnight when Maya showed up at Clara's door. Rain slicked her hair to her cheeks. Mascara smudged just enough to make her look human again instead of perfect. Clara opened the door slow, like she'd been expecting her. Can't sleep either? Maya let out a shaky laugh. Not really. Mind if I come in? The house was dim, the same candle from dinner still burning low, puddles of wax pooling at its base. Clara poured 2 glasses of wine without asking. Maya wrapped her hands around the stem like it might steady her. I owe you the truth, she said. All of it. Clara tilted her head. That's so. Maya nodded, voice cracking. I didn't know. About Ethan. About you. Not at first. And when I figured it out, I wanted to stop, but he made it sound like your marriage was already dead. Clara's expression didn't change. Go on. He said you were cold, controlling, that you didn't care anymore. Maya swallowed hard. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. Clara took a sip of wine, eyes never leaving hers. Sounds like Ethan. Maya blinked. You're not mad. Would it change anything if I was? Clara asked quietly. Maya's shoulders sagged. I couldn't keep it in anymore. I keep seeing your face, hearing your voice at dinner. You were so calm. I thought you'd explode. Clara smiled faintly. That's not really my style. Maya let out a small, nervous laugh. Guess not. They sat in silence for a beat, the clock ticking like a heartbeat. Clara finally said, You know, forgiveness isn't free. Maya looked up, confused. What do you mean? Clara leaned forward, her tone soft but sharp. You want to make it right, yeah? Then don't waste it on guilt. Help me understand him. The things he said, the lies he told. Everything. Maya hesitated. You want me to, what? Spy on him. Clara shrugged. I want the truth. You're the only one he's been honest with lately. Maya stared at her, torn between fear and relief. You're serious. As a heart attack. Maya set her glass down, hands trembling. Clara, this feels wrong. Clara smiled, slow and knowing. Yeah, it does. That's how you know it matters. The rain outside hit harder, tapping against the windows like an impatient rhythm. Maya finally whispered, "Okay, I'll tell you everything I know." "Good," Clara said, rising to refill her glass. "That's a start." When she turned away, her face softened for the first time that night, almost gentle. But her reflection in the glass door said something else entirely. Cold. Calculating. Maya didn't see it. She just exhaled, like a weight had lifted. Clara handed her the refilled glass, their fingers brushing. "To new understandings," she said. Maya forced a smile. "Yeah, to that." They drank in silence. And as Maya left, she didn't notice Clara watching her through the rain. Calm, patient, waiting for the next move. The sirens hit first, thin, slicing through the quiet morning like a bad dream you can't shake. Clara was still in her robe, coffee half cold on the counter, when red and blue lights bounced off her kitchen walls. She stepped outside, barefoot on the wet driveway. 2 squad cars, 1 ambulance. Her neighbor across the street whispered into her phone. The whole cul-de-sac buzzed like gossip with a pulse. Officer Ramirez met her halfway. "Mrs. Rhodes, you might want to sit down." Clara didn't. "What happened?" He looked uncomfortable. "Your husband was found in his car about a mile out. Garage door closed, engine running. We pulled him out unconscious, but he's alive, barely." Her hand went to her mouth, but no sound came. "Suicide. Too early to say." Ramirez rubbed his neck. "We're checking prints, timeline, all that." Clara nodded slowly, eyes glassy. She looked shocked, sure, but the tears came too fast, too clean, like she'd rehearsed the scene in her head a dozen times. "Can I see him?" she asked. "Paramedics are working on him now. Sit tight." She sank onto the curb, the pavement soaking through her robe. Her face crumpled just enough for the watching neighbors to believe it. Inside, her thoughts ran cold and organized, stacking details like files. Engine running. Doors locked. Where's Maya? She'd called Maya the night before. No answer. Texted twice. Nothing. The silence now felt deliberate. The paramedics loaded Ethan onto a stretcher. His face looked gray, lips cracked, a faint smear of ash on his cuff, the same one that had smelled of her perfume. Clara's throat tightened. "Is he gonna make it?" One medic muttered, "If the CO levels don't fry his brain." She swallowed hard, letting the tears fall on cue. Reporters started showing up, cameras glinting like vultures' eyes. Someone shouted, "Mrs. Rhodes, did your husband leave a note?" Clara blinked at them, voice barely a whisper. He wouldn't. But she knew better. Ethan was dramatic, sure, but cowardly when it counted. Suicide didn't fit him. Not unless someone nudged him toward it. Back inside, she closed the blinds and leaned against the door, the sirens fading. Her house smelled of wine and rain. She wiped her cheeks, then her eyes caught on something near the counter. An empty wine glass. Maya's. Her stomach turned. She picked it up, stared at the lipstick print along the rim. Same shade as the stain on Ethan's shirt collar. The pieces twisted together in her mind. Maybe Ethan hadn't wanted to die. Maybe he'd just trusted the wrong person one last time. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number again. One message. He's not the only one who needs saving. Clara's pulse spiked. She typed back fast. "Who is this?" No reply. Outside, the rain started again, hard and relentless. She looked through the blinds, 2 officers still talking by their cruiser, lights flickering over the wet asphalt. "Don't fall apart now," she whispered to herself. "Not yet." She poured herself another glass of wine and watched the storm roll in, her reflection pale in the window. Tomorrow, the truth would start to rot, and she'd be the one holding the shovel. By morning, the news anchors were already milking it. Local architects attempted suicide shocks quiet suburb. They loved the word shocks. It sounded cleaner than ruins. Clara watched the footage on mute, sipping black coffee. Her face flashed across the screen, tear-streaked, dignified. America's favorite widow-in-waiting. The cops came back that afternoon. Ramirez again, looking tired. "We found something," he said, flipping open a plastic evidence bag. Inside, a gold bracelet. Delicate, expensive, familiar. Clara raised a brow. "That's not mine." "Know whose it is?" She leaned forward just enough. "Maybe Maya's. She was here for dinner, remember?" "Yeah," Ramirez said, jotting notes. "Her car's still missing. Phone's off. You seen or heard from her?" Clara shook her head, eyes glassy. "God, no. You think she's?" "We're not saying anything yet." He zipped the bag closed. Forensics found traces of a sedative in the leftover wine, though. Enough to knock someone on their ass. Clara's breath hitched perfectly on cue. "Sedative? You think Ethan?" He sighed. "We don't know who poured what, ma'am. But if you remember anything, you call me." "I will," she said softly. "I just want the truth." When he left, she locked the door and dropped the act. The coffee cup trembled slightly in her hand, but her mind was sharp, slicing through every angle. Maya's bracelet. How the hell did that end up in the sink? Maybe she'd taken it off to wash her hands. Maybe she'd been sloppy. Clara opened her laptop. Her old legal instincts kicked in. Timelines, motives, public perception. She drafted statements, prepared innocent soundbites, even listed local reporters she could charm. People loved a victim who fought back gracefully. She rehearsed in the mirror. Calm, broken, believable. "I just want answers," she said to her reflection. Ethan wasn't perfect, but he didn't deserve this. Perfect. Still, guilt sat somewhere under her ribs, quiet but heavy. Not about Ethan. Never him. About Maya. The way her voice had cracked that night. The fear in her eyes before she left. Clara shook it off, straightened her blouse, and deleted Maya's number from her phone. "Dead or gone," she murmured. "Either way, the story's mine now." Outside, the sky bruised with storm clouds again. Ash from the burnt candle on the counter smeared under her fingertips. She wiped it clean, eyes on the window reflection. Composed, untouchable. Ashes don't lie. But people. Their art. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number again. "See you soon." Clara smiled, small and slow. "Guess the universe isn't done yet," she whispered.